Hi everyone, Peter here with Dyslexia Connect Online Tutoring. Welcome to another episode. Today I would like to talk about dyslexia and fatigue, or we could maybe also call it a case of the yawns. I made up a term actually, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I like to call it word fatigue, and it's something that I observe a lot in dyslexic students. This isn't a scientific term, it's just something I made up after working with dyslexics for a number of years. The fact is that a lot of students with dyslexia yawn a lot when they're reading and spelling and doing schoolwork. And I often hear from parents that ask me, why in the world do they yawn so much? They can be running around outside, seems like they'll be completely alert and awake and ready to go. I put them down with a book and they suddenly start yawning constantly. So what's going on here? What's the cause of that? Well, the cause of this is the fact that reading and spelling can be very exhausting activities for dyslexic students. Since their dyslexia makes it difficult for them to decode words, they require a lot of energy simply to get through a paragraph or a couple of pages of a book and to decode those words as they're going along. Likewise, with spelling, they often have to think so hard about every little thing as they're spelling words that this becomes a very exhausting activity for them. And because this activity is so exhausting, it causes them to yawn a lot. So that is one of the main reasons that they are yawning so much when they're reading, spelling, doing their homework, and so on. And it's something where you may work with a dyslexic student who seems wide awake every time they start a session with you, but all of a sudden, after a few minutes, they're going to start yawning, and this leads to some difficulties sometimes because a lot of folks assume that, well, this is just simply a sign of lack of attention, or they're tired, they're not necessarily getting the sleep that they need, and if they were just simply to pay more attention, or try to wake themselves up, or to try to focus, they would be able to get over this, and they would stop yawning. But unfortunately, this is just not the case. Reading and spelling and doing homework are such exhausting activities for a lot of dyslexic students that this is what causes them to yawn. Sometimes when we're working with students during sessions, they may go the first 5-10 minutes without yawning, and after that, all of a sudden we'll start to see them yawning constantly. And a number of years ago when I started noticing this, I started asking students about that. I started saying, are you tired right now? Do you feel tired out or worn out? And sometimes they'd say, well, no, I don't feel worn out. It's just, when I sit down, I start reading, I start spelling, I start yawning. That's what happens. So it's not that they're not interested in what they're working on or they're not engaged by what they're learning. A lot of times they may be completely interested in what they're doing and be enjoying themselves a lot and enjoying the work they're doing and enjoying the reading they're doing, but they're still going to yawn. This is just simply something that comes about because of their dyslexia. So it's important not to interpret this as laziness or lack of attention. Now, of course, the question is, all this constant yawning and having a case of the yawns all the time can sort of get in the way of things. Or at least, if it doesn't get in the way of things, it can kind of be a bother. If you're trying to work on something with a dyslexic student and they're yawning constantly and going, oh, like that every moment you're trying to work with them. So we should ask about whether there is a solution to this. Now, unfortunately, there isn't any really easy solution to this besides just helping the dyslexic child make progress. The more progress they make with their reading, spelling, and comprehension, the easier time they're going to have that work, and the less exhausting these activities will be for them. And of course, as they improve in their reading and their spelling and their reading comprehension, this is going to have a very positive effect on their homework and their other schoolwork as well. So all these things are going to become easier for them, and they're not going to stress out about these things as much and tend to get exhausted when they're working on them. So that's the main way that we can help them overcome this problem of fatigue, this problem of yawning constantly. Also, Another thing to keep in mind when you are working with a dyslexic student and you see this happening is that they might need more breaks a little bit here and there. You might have a hard time just working with them for, say, like an hour and a half straight, because these things are tired and difficult for them. So breaking things up a little bit more, giving them little rest breaks in between subjects, in between working on, say, homework and different things can be very helpful, because it gives their mind a break, helps to refresh them, and when they renew their work, they might be a little bit more alert and be yawning less. You can also do funny stuff like have them do jumping jacks, or maybe get up and run around the house a couple times, or do anything active that sort of gets the blood pumping and gets them moving around. Because this, of course, is going to make them more alert, and is going to help wake them up again, and help them, once they sit down, be more engaged in what they're doing. So these are good strategies to use too. You can always have them get up and do something active to help them refresh themselves before you sit back down to do more work. But I thought I would talk about that today because I often get a question about why dyslexic students have such a case of the yawns all the time. And I thought I would discuss the reasons for this and, the solution, which is just simply helping them make progress so that reading and spelling are less exhausting. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to visit us, our website is www.dyslexiaconnect.com. You can find more entries from our video blogs there. You can also find information about dyslexia and our online dyslexia tutoring program, and sign up for a trial if you'd like to do that. If you'd like to receive more videos from us, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We usually put out videos about dyslexia pretty regularly. You can also find us on Facebook or Twitter if you're on either of those. And you can find that by looking us up on either of those. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. I always like to respond to your questions and be a help whenever I can. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.